Welcome everyone, this is Pilot Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at Jesus and LOTRO and hear LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sans Wanda.
Hello.
Hello Sans, it looks like it's just the two of us this week.
It does look that way.
And what we have this week are patch notes.
Woohoo!
Woo, yes. We have update 35.0.1, which came a week later than expected, but it is out now, released on April 5th. And here are the updates they made. First off, with the disarm effect. For a long time, we haven't been happy with the way disarm works by temporarily treating your weapon as unequipped, which had a lot more performance and statistical implications than is necessary. So we've taken this opportunity to change it to work identically to silence. Your weapon is no longer disabled, but disarm simply blocks you from using certain skills for the duration.
So functionally the same, but different on the back end?
No, what it means is that you no longer lose all your stats to your weapon.
Oh, you keep your stats.
Yeah, because you keep your stats and all of that. You just can't use the skills that utilize the weapon.
You know, I've never noticed the loss of my stats when I've been disarmed. I primarily play a hunter and didn't really notice the disarms at all. But,
Well, yes, there is that. And if you did get disarmed, I have a feeling that how would you notice how much agility you lost if you couldn't attack anyway?
Right? I mean, normally like on my champion, or if I was trying to use melee skills on my hunter, the skill would just be grayed out, and that would be the first time that I really noticed. Like, wait, I'm pushing these buttons and nothing is happening. Is it lag, or is it, disarm again?
Yes. And we also removed several cases where a skill could be affected by both silence and disarm. Any given skill should now only be vulnerable to one or the other.
Hooray!
Or neither. Yes. Thank you. And as for monster health and armor, due to the changes in masteries, player damage has increased fairly substantially. This was expected, but we wanted to take a little while to get a sense of just how much the increase was. Now that we've got a better measure of, we're adjusting base monster stats to compensate. This change amounts to a plus 25% adjust to morale at cap level, scaling down to 0% at level 30.
Interesting.
Additionally, as of level 116, monsters now receive a bump to their base armor rating, increasing their mitigation from 35% to 45%. It remains unchanged below this level.
Okay.
Note that player pets and NPCs should also benefit from these adjustments.
I wish my war steed would too.
I'm wondering, what about skirmish soldiers?
Maybe they count as NPCs?
I guess I'm going to have to go and check on that. But of course, it did say
or
monster.
Player pets.
Yeah. Creeps are not affected by these adjustments as they use their own formula. Wondering if I thought that some monsters I was fighting this weekend were a little tougher than usual. I thought that maybe there was something else going on, but maybe it was just because, if they increase the health and armor to them, then I guess that makes sense.
They'd be a little bit tougher.
Now let's see what we've got going on in Return to Karn Doom. Various quests at Bel Avark now provide an option to open the instance join panel directly to the related instance or raid. Note, these quests have been versioned and will be removed from your quest log, so you will need to accept them again at Bel Avark. Now,
Interesting.
yeah, now there are two things I have to note on this one. First off, I was actually going in and doing these quests. Went to the apothecary today, but it was a few days ago, probably just before the patch, where I had picked up the daily quest there. So yes, I was a bit confused there. I said, "Wait a minute! I thought I picked up these quests." Yeah, before they removed them. So I was a little surprised there that I didn't have the quest. And the other thing to note is that this particular update had caused the NPCs to be to always have a quest ring above their head because you could open up the quest instance panel through them, and as a result of that, they have a quest ring even after they gave you the quest, and it was confusing a lot of people. So they are reverting at least that part of the chain update in the next update when they hit, I think it'd be update 35.1. When that comes out, they'll be reverting the thing that has the quest ring above their head.
Oh man, that's like giving NPCs the SOS emote.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what they did. They gave those NPCs the SOS emote. And they also fixed a bug in the quest into Saint-Lor, the Poison Gardens, where only one member of a fellowship was able to advance the quest at certain locations.
That's good.
And also, the quest into Saint-Lor, the Poison Gardens, has been updated so that if a player misses talking to Dolog outside the greenhouse and kills the boss first, the quest can still be completed.
Good.
I guess they will say, "Hey, thank you for killing me," or whatever. Yes. And cleansing devices are now usables earlier into Rodrigue's fight in Sargroth, the Lair of Vermin.
Good.
And also in the Lair of Vermin, players may return to the quest hub in Cardoom by leaving through the instance's entrance. Why would you leave through the instance's entrance if you got killed in the boss fight or something? Or
Maybe, or you pushed desperate flight, or that was the only
uh,
way out that you could think of and you were just used to running back. I don't know.
yes, especially considering that if you reach the boss in there, we noticed that when the party wiped, we respawned just outside the boss's entrance, not the entrance to the dungeon.
Fair.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess okay, fine. You have the option to do that.
Or maybe you got into the instance and then realized, ooh, I really need to do some real life things. Let me back out of this for a minute and I'll start it again in a minute. Or after I'm
Oh,
done. And
that
so then you
is
walk
a
back through the door and then you'd want to find yourself probably back at the quest hub.
yeah, that makes sense. And they also adjusted the physics in portions of Sagroth. They fixed Z fighting in Under the Drear Spire.
Excellent.
They removed portal FX in Bale of Arc. They grounded floating decorations in Bale of Arc.
For decorations.
Yes. And the repeatable quests into Sunflower, Thargastar, and Sungrowth now properly require level 140 to be accepted. The heavy and superior heavy iron mace of Sockgrowth, Lair of Vermin, with might as a granted stat, should no longer drop from the instance chest for burglars and hunters.
That sounds like a good change.
Yes. And the balanced and superior balanced Warhammer of Sockroth, Lair of Vermin, with agility as a granted stat, should no longer drop in the instance chest for champions. And both the Karn Doom drum of Deep Doom and the Karn Doom drum of Agent Secrets, including all rarity levels, have had their ballot and quota damage increased to 30%.
Good.
And all class items from the Return to Cardoon instance cluster are now bound to accounts. I don't know what they were bound to before. I don't know whether that's good or bad.
I don't know either, but it's better than character.
Yes, better than character. Yes, all class items from Return to Cardoon instance clusters now have max level of 144. Finely strung loot of the veteran minstrel now has a max level of 115, and there were a lot of complaints about that one.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Why? Okay.
Well, because they felt that you shouldn't be using that at 140 is what they were thinking there. Now, of
But if
course,
you
there are some
want to
people.
use a lower level thing, why not? Like, I don't see why they
Yeah,
don't let us keep using lower level things if we really want to.
I think it's because when they were designed, they had these percentage things on there that they didn't intend, and they became OP when used it at level 40. In other words, it was uh,
Another case of having to choose, like, do I want the end game stuff or do I want the better former end game stuff?
yes. And the other problem that some people have with it is that the only thing that seems to be dropping from minstrels inside the new areas are drums. And there are a lot of minstrels out there who do not want to play drums
Well, yeah.
for
I'd much rather play a lute or a bagpipe, even.
right. So that's a bit of a problem. So maybe they'll add a lute or something like that so that
You can choose your instrument. That'd be
yes, you
cool.
can at least yeah, at least a lute is basic enough. I don't think anyone objects to playing a lute, but drums they have a certain quality to them that I could see why people would dislike.
You know what they should drop? They should
That.
drop a selection box where you can
An
choose
instrument selection
an
box.
instrument selection box, and then you can choose whichever instrument you wanted your instrument to be.
Okay,
Why not?
yeah, that sounds like a
We
good
can do it
idea.
for traceries and essence type things. Why not for minstrels instruments, since there's so many choices?
Yeah, all right. I guess we could live with that. Cardoom travel skills have been moved to their own Return to Cardoom barter profile without any prerequisites. Yay!
Woohoo!
So now my warden uh, has that has the travel skill. For, in fact, it's the muster has the muster now because that is now available and all nice and happy about that. So I can get the Cardoom quickly if need
Yay!
be. Of course, getting Cardoom quickly is probably not something that people usually want on their lifelong agenda, but that's another matter.
Haven't you heard there's a great day spa there, Pine Leaf?
Yeah, but the water it does is a little bit on the hard side. Well, actually, it's more of the acidic side.
A little bit overly acidic, yes. But, at least for hunters, having a guide to take people to the day spa that's pretty popular, yeah, that makes good sense. I'm not so sure about the muster. Maybe wardens have lots of friends who need help when they get to the day spa, and that's why they need to muster there.
Well, yes, that is. There is that. And also, Return to Cardoom balance updates have been made to Sunflower, Zarazgar, and Sagroth. Yeah, balance updates have been made there. But it looks like is that in the File Apothecary, the solo version still seems to be tougher than the duo version. And what I mean is easier to solo the duo version than the solo version.
That seems like a problem.
Yeah, it seems like a problem. Yeah, I was comparing the morale of the trolls, for example, and the trolls in the solo version are 4.5 million, and the trolls in the duo version are about 3.8, 3.9 million.
So maybe they got them backwards.
Well, it's that I have a feeling that they had intended to have a ranger come with us, that you blow a horn and have the ranger come with you, and that would have helped things a little bit. But no, you don't have a horn to summon a ranger like you do in the Poison Gardens. So you had that tough one. So today when I was running, I was running in duo.
Good thinking.
Yeah. For Monster Play, there were a handful of quests that were blocked behind completing the old version of the Monster Player tutorial. These are now available to Monster players who have played the new or old versions of the Monster Play tutorial. Also, they fixed an oh,
I was just gonna say, excellent news.
okay. They also fixed an issue where the skill to return to Glanvraig will now correctly execute and advance the tutorial quest. Right, and updated the response to the Entmoors to extend to the bonuses granted by controlling the mines to all territories in the Entmoors. And as for missions and delvings, completing Tier 11 or Tier 12 delving quests in Cardoline missions will now advance some Tier 11 or and Tier 12 specific deeds. And general notes, the Delver's Vivid Essence box will now correctly display as an item level 481. Now, as I said before, they had the quest givers who were a little bit too happy on SOSing you, and they do intend to revert that in the next update. We'll see how that works. The next update is probably going to be 35.1, and that's probably going to be in about 10 days, I believe. And that's when they're intending to open up the raid and all that stuff and have an update there, because they said they're pretty certain there will not be an update next week, and they will need an update in the week following that because the anniversary.
Oh yeah, it's almost that time.
Now, another thing that happened is something happened during the update that turned off the key that said that, oh, you have completed the necessary quest in order to run each of the epic skirmishes. So as a result, everyone had their epic skirmishes grayed out. And that's not good. And it's very, very strange going around with not being able to go into the epic skirmishes, despite the fact that you're wearing the title of Skirmisher of Middle Earth.
Right?
Yes. So I know I've done them. So they decided to put in a temporary fix until they can fix it. I think they're planning to put in a permanent fix with update 35.1, but until then they had to put in a temporary fix, and as far as I can tell, that temporary fix was to completely remove the check for prerequisites for that one. They know that it still checks level, of course, but no longer checks for completing any quest or anything like that. So as a result, if you were someone who valored a character,
now's the time to try to get those deeds done quickly.
it's time. It is time to go in and do it quickly before they turn the locks back on. And I'm sure someone's going to start a thread somewhere and say, maybe you can make this permanent, because I know some people were saying that they wish that those locks weren't there because they valored a character and they don't feel like going back to Mirkwood in order to.
I feel like they should at least unlock for valored characters.
We'll see what they do.
We'll see what they do. They'll probably just relock them, and that'll be okay
yeah,
too.
Most likely they'll just relock them. Yes. And they opened up the Poison Gardens and the in the sewers, or whatever they were called, that one, the The Vermin Den. Yes, right. The Den of the Vermin. They're now open at Tier 4. Now, they also tried to open it up for the Vile Apothecary, but apparently something went wrong there, so they closed Tier 4 to the Vile Apothecary. So you only have the first three tiers there still. But two of them, Poison Gardens and the Den of Vermin, they are available for Tier 4. And that's it for our game news for this week. But we, of course, have the sales. What's on sale this week?
Well, this week we have some LOTRO bonus days that bring you a plus 25% Embers and Motes boost from loot boxes through April 10th. And we have available level 140 Valar, limited time only. Also, you can save 20% on select Valars now through April 13th. And you can accelerate your adventure. Get 20% off select Valar level boosts and Mithril coins through April 13th. And the weekly coupon gets you a free combat run speed boost times 5 for the coupon code Run Speed Boost. That's RUNSPEEDBOOST. Run Speed Boost. And that is also good through April 13th.
So, are you eyeing a on discount Valor to 130, or are you eyeing a slightly more expensive Valor to 140?
You know, part of me wants to, but I've got like 3 or 4 unopened Valar boxes in my storage right now. So I probably won't get one.
All right, then there's a point in that. Let's head into our week in gaming. Sans, what were you up to?
Well, this week I helped some folks in Mossword with Grindis on the girls' stream, and getting my make haste skill definitely helped. I was missing the ability to sprint around or move faster. And then I got make haste, which moves a little bit faster for a little bit, which is kind of fun. Yay, captains. We were both wishing that we had our hunters for a little while there. And did some Jester's Festivaling in ESO and completed some endeavors there. And then, with Cinders this week, I created an awesome base and killed many trolls in Valheim. And we found a location for the second boss and started preparations for the battle. And then kind of stopped to do real life things.
Oh.
But, on a different character, I tested the boss battle. And that's going to be quite the battle. So, we'll see if we're really prepared or not when we get a chance to go try that. And that was pretty much our week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
I'll begin with my Warden, where I managed to finally do some delvings. So I headed on there. I was doing some tier 1 delvings today and dodged lots of puddles, as I guess is what it comes down to, because that's what tier 1 delvings are all about, are puddles. Annoying puddles, that is. And also, on the same Warden, I headed into the Vile Apothecary, where I learned that bit about the duo seeming to be easier than the solo on that one. So I first went in on the solo mode and saying, what in the world is going on in here? I decided to back out, went back in and verified that, yeah, the rows and all that stuff were a bit lower. Those trolls in the Vile Apothecary, having elite trolls with ads in a solo instance, in the solo version, is a little bit over the top, I think. Especially
Fair.
when we're talking about those trolls that have momentum.
That makes good sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I feel that that's a little bit tough on the solo end to it. And also, my Runekeeper headed further south in Western Gondor, where I went through the various towns south and into Corsair territory, And now I'm in a cave where I'm ready to confer with some cave elves. We'll see how that goes. Let me soon I'll be in Dol Amroth.
Yay!
Oh yes, and I hit level 100.
Congrats!
Yep. So we'll see how that goes. And that is my week in LOTRO. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rated players and help support illustrious players, you can go to the donations page to support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. You go. And we have 2 live shows each week. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You guys join us for our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, then. This is Pine Noodles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.